For our 20th wedding anniversary dinner, I cooked his favorite, beef Wellington. The pastry was golden brown, the mushroom sauce had brandy just like his recipe, and the beef was a perfect medium rare. I spent the entire afternoon on it. The candles were silver, since 20 years is the silver anniversary. I put out a new white linen tablecloth and our finest bone china plates. I even wore the dark green velvet dress I'd saved for 5 years, too afraid to take it out. When Harrison opened the front door, I stood up and smiled, waiting for him. He looked at the table, then at me, with a strange expression. Not surprise, but something unreadable and complicated. He set his briefcase by the door, walked over, and sat down. He took one bite of the steak.
It's delicious.
Then he pulled an envelope from his suit pocket and laid it on the table. I thought it was a gift. He never forgot our anniversary. He always gave me something. Roses for the first year, a diamond bracelet for the 10th, a plane ticket to Paris for the 15th. What would it be for the 20th? I reached for it, but he covered my hand with his.
Elena, don't open it yet. Let me speak first.
His voice was calm, like I was giving a closing argument in court. I knew that tone all too well. I'd heard it 1,000 times over 20 years, but this time he wasn't in court. He was talking to me.
I want a divorce. The papers are ready. Look them over and sign if they're fine. I won't leave you with nothing.
I stared at his face, the face I'd known for 20 years. But right then, it felt unfamiliar, like looking at a stranger. I opened the envelope. Inside was a divorce agreement. The house was his, the car was his, the savings were his. I had nothing. My name is Elena Brennan. I'm 52, a full-time housewife. My husband is Harrison Brennan, 57, the most famous divorce lawyer in Manhattan. He's handled hundreds of divorce cases and never lost one. His clients are all wealthy, Wall Street bankers, real estate tycoons. He helps them hide assets case. He once said in an interview with the New York Times,
Marriage is a contract. When the contract ends, you follow the terms. What about your own marriage? Is that a contract too? My wife never lets me lose.
I read that interview and laughed. I was still in love with him back then. I thought when he said my wife never lets me lose, he was praising me. Now I know he only meant one thing. I helped him keep a perfect image for 20 years. A successful divorce lawyer needs a happy marriage as his trademark. Otherwise, who would trust their case to a man who can't even fix his own marriage? I was that trademark for 20 years. Now the sign was coming down. I set the divorce papers down and looked at the man I'd known so well. Yet he felt like a total stranger to me in this moment.
Why?
No reason. 20 years is enough.
Is there someone else?
He didn't answer. He didn't deny it. That was a yes. I picked up the papers, stood up, walked into the study, and closed the door. I didn't cry. I sat at my desk and read the agreement from start to finish. Every single clause. Each one cut like a knife. The house was his. The down payment had been from my mother. The car was his. I'd bought it with my first salary. The savings were his. Half of it was money I'd saved before we married. He'd calculated every penny to the last detail, perfectly. That was his expertise. Divorce lawyer. Undefeated. I never thought this score would be settled on our marriage, right on our 20th wedding anniversary. He's trying to kick me out with nothing. I messed up. I trusted my husband far too much. I sat in the study and looked at the walls around me. This study had been mine first. Then it became his home office, because he said he needed to work from home, a quiet place. I gave him my desk, my bookshelves, my window seat. For 20 years, I turned our 2-bedroom apartment into his. I didn't even have a single room of my own. But there was one thing he didn't know. For 20 years, I'd organized all of his case files, not because he told me to, but because I had nothing else to do. The case files he brought home were piled messily on the desk. I sorted them, filed them, numbered them, and typed them into the computer. I didn't do it to help him win cases. I did it to feel useful. To feel like I was more than just Harrison's wife. I opened his filing cabinet. All 20 years of cases were inside. Every single one was proof he'd helped male clients hide assets. I'd handled every piece of evidence. Yes, I once wanted to be a lawyer. I got into law school. But I gave it up. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the study floor and went through box after box of files. 38 boxes, covering 20 years of cases. I remembered every box. I'd packed them myself. I found the files from his very first big case. 21 years ago, his first major client. A real estate developer who wanted to leave his wife with nothing. He helped the client forge fake debt documents, claiming the company was broke with zero assets. The wife believed him, signed the papers, and left with $200,000. The real assets were worth $100 million. The client paid him $500,000 in fees. I held the document, my hands shaking, not from anger but because I finally understood. He never thought of marriage as a contract. He treated it like a deal. The winner takes everything, the loser gets nothing. He helped others win in court. He helped himself win in marriage, and I, from start to finish, was just his opponent. The next morning, he knocked on the study door before leaving.
Elena, have you read the papers? Signed them?
Not yet.
Hurry up. My lawyer is waiting.
Your lawyer? Aren't you representing yourself?
I can't represent myself, but the man I hired is the best.
I stood up, walked to the window, and watched his car drive away. Even his license plate reminded him, "You cannot lose." I spent 3 days going through all 38 boxes. I marked every single file, which were fake debt proofs, fake asset transfers, records of bribing expert witnesses, and strategic advice to psychologically harass wives. I documented every trick he'd ever used. Then I made a decision. I wouldn't hire a lawyer. I would go to court alone. Not as a wife, not as a plaintiff, not as a defendant, as a witness. Because I wasn't getting a divorce from him. I was accusing him of crimes. I called his law firm and asked for an appointment.
Which attorney would you like to see?
Your boss, Harrison Brennan.
Are you his client?
I'm his wife.
The receptionist went silent. 5 minutes later, he called back.
Elena, what are you doing?
I want a divorce. You showed me the papers, but I don't agree. I want to talk.
Talk about what?
Talk about your case files, about the years you helped clients hide assets, about the evidence you forged.
Elena, do you know what you're saying?
I know.
Do you know you're threatening me?
I'm not threatening you. I'm informing you. Next Monday, I'll see you in court.
I didn't hear from him for the next 3 days. But he sent people. The first was his lawyer, Jeffrey.
Elena, this is Harrison's offer. The house is yours, the car is yours, half the savings, plus $200,000 a year in alimony. Sign, and it's all over.
I pushed the paper back.
It's not enough.
How much do you want?
I don't want money. I want him to stand in court and admit what he's done.
Elena, you know that's impossible. You know if he says those things, he'll lose his law license.
I know. So my condition is his license.
You'll regret this.
I've regretted it for 20 years. A few more days won't matter.
The next person to come was our daughter, Emily. She was 25, a doctor in Boston. She called me, her voice urgent.
Mom, what's going on with you and Dad?
Your dad wants a divorce.
I know. But why are you going to court? Can't you settle this privately?
Emily, your dad has helped men hide assets for over 20 years. He's left clientless women with nothing. I have proof of his crimes. Do you really think I should settle privately?
Mom, are you sure what you have is real?
I'm sure, because I organized every single file myself. Emily flew back from Boston. She stood in the doorway, looking at me. Her eyes were red, but she didn't cry. She was like me. She never cried.
Mom, are you sure you want to do this? He's your husband. He's my father.
But he's also the enemy of those women. Have you read the files? Have you read the testimonies of the wives left with nothing?
That was his client, not him.
He taught them. Every trick. Hiding assets, faking debts, bribing experts, dragging out cases, draining the other side's legal fees. He designed all of it.
Emily sat down. She held me and cried. It was the first time she'd cried in front of me in 20 years. As she cried, I thought of her as a little girl. She fell and didn't cry. She got shots and didn't cry. She was bullied and didn't cry. But now she cried, because her father had killed her mother. Not physically, in her heart. The night before the trial, I organized the final evidence in the study. I sat at my desk and stared at the stack of papers. 20 years of marriage. 20 years of silence. 20 years of Elena, quit your job, stay home with the kids. For 20 years, I locked all my ambition, dreams, and talent inside the study. And when he no longer wanted me, I used them to fight back.
Harrison stood in the doorway. He didn't knock.
Elena, I want to talk.
Talk about what?
About us.
There is no us anymore. You wrote the divorce papers yourself.
I didn't sign them, you're holding them.
You wrote every clause. The house is yours, the car is yours, the savings are yours. Every word you wrote told me there was never an us, only you and me. He looked old, 57, but he looked 67. Dark bags under his eyes, graining hair, trembling fingers. A man who never trembled in court was trembling now.
Elena, do you know why I want a divorce?
Because you have someone else?
No,
Then why?
because I don't want to win against you anymore. For 20 years, I've won everywhere, in court, in talks with clients, but never against you. You never fought my fights. You stayed home, cooked, raised the kids, waited for me. All my wins felt empty. True success isn't leaving a woman with nothing. It's having her happily make beef Wellton for you.
I stared at him. Then why are you leaving now?
Because I met someone. She makes me feel like I don't have to win. I can lose in front of her.
Who is this person?
It doesn't matter, because you can't reach me here anymore.
Where are you going?
Elena, you'll destroy me. You know what you have will make me lose everything.
What you're losing isn't something I destroyed. It's something you built, on other people's pain. His eyes held tears, regret, and anger.
Do you love me?
I looked at him. This face I'd known for 20 years. I'd seen laughter, tears, exhaustion, anger on it. But right then, all I saw was a stranger. Someone I'd never known. I don't know, but I know I won't let you hurt anyone else. He left. The door closed. I sat at my desk and stared at the stack of evidence. It started raining outside. Rain hit the window like tears, but not mine. I couldn't cry anymore. The trial began. The courtroom was small. The gallery was packed. Reporters, lawyers, and the women he'd left with nothing. Emily sat in the front row, next to my mother, who was 83. Harrison sat at the defense table, with Jeffrey beside him. I had no lawyer. I sat alone at the plaintiff's table.
The judge entered. Mrs. Brennan, are you sure you don't want legal representation? I'm sure, because I'm not here to fight a divorce case. I'm here to testify. What are you testifying to? I testify that Harrison Brennan, over the past 20 years, has assisted clients in forging debt documents, hiding assets, bribing expert witnesses, and committing psychological abuse. These actions violate New York state law and legal ethics.
The defendant has no right to represent herself, let alone accuse others as a witness.
She is not defending herself. She is testifying. I stood up and walked to the witness stand. I raised my right hand and placed it on the Bible. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Miss Brennan, in what capacity are you testifying? As Harrison Brennan's wife and his case file organizer for 20 years. Which case files did you organize? Every single file he handled over the past 20 years. 378 cases in total. What did you find in those files? I found forged debt documents, fake asset transfer records, payment slips for bribing expert witnesses, and strategic advice to psychologically harass the wives.
Objection. These files are protected by attorney-client privilege and cannot be disclosed in court.
These files were found in the defendant's home, not obtained from the law firm. Objection overruled.
I pulled the first exhibit from my bag and handed it to the bailist. It was a forged debt document, dated 21 years ago. The client claimed $50 million in debt. Real assets were $100 million. His wife signed away everything. Your Honor, this is my first exhibit. It proves the defendant began helping clients hide assets 21 years ago.
Harrison sat at the defense table, his face pale.
His lawyer flipped through papers beside him, sweat dripping from his forehead.
Exhibit 2, a bank transfer record. 10 years ago, his client transferred $2 million to an offshore account in the name of the client's lover outside marriage. This is proof the defendant and his client hide assets. 3 months before the divorce, the client transferred $2 million to his lover outside marriage.
Exhibit 3, an email from him to an expert witness.
All you need to say is this asset belongs to the company, not the individual. One sentence, 50,000. Exhibit 4, a memo.
Strategic advice he wrote to a client.
Drag out the case. Wait until she can't afford a lawyer. She'll settle on her own. Exhibit 5, 6, 7. I presented them one by one. People in the gallery cried. The women he'd left with nothing.
The women hurt by his tactics. They sat there, looking at me like I was a hero. But I didn't feel like a hero. I was just a wife who'd been an accomplice for 20 years. During the recess, I met an elderly woman in the hallway. She was in her 70s, white-haired. She walked up to me and took my hand.
Are you Elena? I am. My name is Grace. Your husband handled my divorce 20 years ago.
My heart skipped a beat.
Were you his client? No. I was his client's wife. He helped my ex-husband move all assets offshore. When I divorced, I got $5,000. $5,000. 30 years of marriage, $5,000.
She cried. I held her hand, not knowing what to say.
Do you know what I did with that $5,000? I bought a rocking chair. Every night I sat in it, rocking back and forth, telling myself, you won't break. You won't break. I won't break. You're not just not breaking. You're standing up for all of us who broke.
The second day of trial, Jeffrey began his cross-examination. He asked me a question.
Mrs. Brennan, do you admit you only started organizing this evidence after you found out your husband wanted a divorce?
I do not. I gathered this evidence little by little over 20 years of marriage, because I always knew I would need it one day.
How could you know? Did you foresee your husband divorcing you?
What I foreseen was someone who treats other men's wives this way will eventually treat his own wife the same.
Jeffrey froze. He hadn't expected that answer.
Ms. Brendan, don't you think you used your husband for 20 years? You used his files to collect evidence against him. You've been waiting for this day.
I smiled, the smile of someone who'd waited 20 years.
I wasn't waiting for this day. I was waiting for him to become a good man. After 20 years, I realized he couldn't, so I had to change for him.
Someone in the gallery clapped. The judge banged her gavel, but no one stopped. Third day of trial. I called my first witness, Grace. She walked to the stand, hand on the Bible.
Mrs. Grace, would you like to tell the court your story? I will. I was married 30 years. My ex-husband was a builder. When we divorced, he said the company was broke, zero assets. I believed him. He was my husband. I couldn't afford a lawyer. I took $5,000 and left. A year later, I found out he bought an island in the Bahamas. An island. She cried. She wiped her tears and continued. I later found out the man who helped him hide assets was Harrison Brennan. Him.
She pointed at Harrison. At the defense table, his face was ashen.
You weren't the first. You were the 100th.
Second witness. A woman named Catherine. She was Harrison's former client. Yes, client, not the client's wife.
Mrs. Catherine, would you like to tell the court your experience? Yes. I hired Harrison for my divorce. He said he'd fight for the best outcome. Instead, he talked me into a terrible settlement. I didn't know why then. Later, I found out. My ex-husband's lawyer was his college roommate. They collude. I lost the case, lost the house, the car, and custody of my kids. How did you find out? My ex-husband's lawyer got drunk at a party and let it slip. He said, Harrison is my best partner. I realized he wasn't fighting for me. He was helping his roommate win.
The gallery erupted. The judge banged her gavel several times to restore order.
Third witness. My daughter, Emily. Her hands shook as she walked to the stand, but her voice was steady. Emily Brennan, you are the daughter of the defendant and the plaintiff, correct?
Yes.
Would you like to tell the court your opinion of your father?
I don't want to, but I have to. Because I read his case files, the ones my mom organized. I read the testimonies of the women, the cries of wives left with nothing, the medical records of women driven to suicide attempts by his clients. I read all night. The next morning, I didn't recognize my father.
Why?
Because he taught those men how to take everything. Take the money, the house, the kids, everything. Then told them, you deserve to win.
She cried, but her voice didn't shake.
Your Honor, I'm not here to speak for my mother. I'm here to speak for all the women who don't have a daughter to speak for them.
No one spoke in the gallery. No clapping, only silence. A silence louder than any applause.
Jeffrey gave his closing argument.
Your Honor, the core of this case is Miss Elena Brennan's request for marital property division. Her so-called evidence does not prove the defendant Harrison Brennan committed any professional misconduct. These exhibits are only her one-sided interpretation.
I stood up. Your Honor, may I respond? You may.
Mr. Jeffrey, you say these exhibits are my one-sided interpretation. Then let me ask you, a forged debt document with the defendant's signature, is that not a fact? A $2 million transfer to the client's mistress, is that not a fact? An email bribing an expert witness addressed to the defendant, is that not a fact?
Jeffrey opened his mouth but said nothing.
You can call my interpretation one-sided, but the facts are not. 378 documents, each with his signature, over $200 million in assets he helped hide, women left with nothing, some dead, some living on welfare. These are not my interpretations. These are his crimes. The judge banged her gavel. The judge adjourned for a verdict.
When I walked out of the courtroom, the sun was blinding. Grace stood at the door. Catherine stood beside her. More women I didn't know.
Elena, no matter the outcome, you're our hero.
I'm not a hero. I'm just a wife who was an accomplice for 20 years.
Even accomplices have a conscience. Some accomplices never stand up. You did.
I hugged her. She was so thin, so light, like a dead branch. But her arms were strong, like the roots of an old tree. On verdict day, the courtroom was full again. The judge entered. Everyone stood. She sat down, flipped through a few papers. Then she spoke.
The court finds that the defendant Harrison Brennan committed multiple acts of professional misconducts, including evidence forgery, asset concealment, witness bribery, and violation of legal ethics. These actions severely harmed clients' rights and judicial integrity. The court orders, first, Harrison Brennan's law license is immediately revoked. Second, Harrison Brennan shall submit a full list of all cases over 20 years for judicial review. Third, in the divorce matter, plaintiff Elena Brennan is awarded all marital property, including the house, car, savings, and 50% of the defendant's future income as alimony.
She banged her gavel. Verdict complete.
I sat there, motionless, my hands shook. Not from excitement, but because 20 years I'd finally heard it. Not you lost, but he lost.
After Harrison was taken away, I stood outside the courtroom, holding the judgment. Emily walked over and hugged me.
Mom, you won.
No one wins. Someone just lost.
Aren't you happy?
I looked into her eyes.
I'm happy, but happy isn't joyful. Happy is relief. Joy is, I don't know, I haven't felt joy in a long time. Maybe when I find myself, joy will come back. How will you find yourself? Do something I always wanted but never did. What? Open a law firm. Only represent women.
I used the settlement to open a firm, named it Elena Firm. In Manhattan, 2 blocks from Harrison's old office. I chose it on purpose. So everyone would see, women can lose and women can win. Not through lies, but through truth. Many people came on opening day. Grace, Catherine, Emily, and many women I didn't know.
They stood at the door, looking at the sign, Elena, women only, first consultation free.
Elena, you're the only lawyer we trust.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm 52, but I hired 3 lawyers, all women. They fight your cases. I organize your files.
You're organizing files again?
It's what I do best.
The firm's first client was a woman named Sophia. She was 38, married 10 years, with 2 kids. Her husband was a doctor, making $1 million a year. When they divorced, he said he had no money, because his money was in a company account, owned by him and his brother. Sophia had no proof. She didn't know where the money was. All she knew, her husband bought a Porsche a month ago.
Where is your husband's company? New Jersey. Do you have any company documents?
No, but I have his pay stacks. He makes $20,000 a month, but the Porsche payment is $5,000 a month. He can't afford that.
Sophia, you're smarter than you think. You already found the first crack.
I had my legal team start investigating. Audit the company books, bank records, spending habits. 2 weeks later, we found he transferred $50,000 a month from the company to his brother's firm. A firm with no business, just a shell. Money moved from that firm to his personal account. His annual income wasn't $240,000, it was $1 million.
Sophia's case went to court. Her husband hired the best lawyer, the same man who colluded with Harrison, Jeffrey. He was the same $3,000 suit, perfect hair, flawless words.
Your Honor, my client's annual income is $240,000. The plaintiff's so-called Hinsam assets have no proof.
Your Honor, I have evidence. I tatted her bank transfer records. From husband's gonses to Guther Schwell firm to husband personal account. Maybe hide clear. These are transfers over 3 years. Total $3,600,000, $120,000 a year on average, plus his salary $240,000, total $144,000 a year, not $240,000.
Objection! The evidence was obtained illegally.
This evidence was obtained from the defendant's computer. The defendant used the family computer for transfers during the marriage. The plaintiff has the right to access family computer information. This is explicit under New York State family law.
Defendant, do you have anything to say?
The defendant hung his head and said nothing. He lost. Sophia got what she deserved: the house, car, kids, and $500,000 a year in alimony.
Sophia cried the day she got the judgment. Not loud sobs, but silent tears falling one by one. I handed her a tissue. She didn't take it. She just cried. For a long time.
You stood up for yourself. Now you know. Next time, you can do it yourself.
She smiled. The smile of someone finally free.
The firm was open 3 months. We took 27 cases, 123, 4 ongoing. Every case was a story, every story a battle. But I wasn't afraid to fight. I'd fought for 20 years. I'd lost. I knew what losing felt like. So I wouldn't let anyone else lose.
One day, Emily came to see me.
Mom, you know what? I finally understand why you wanted me to go to law school.
I didn't make you go to law school. You chose it.
I chose law school because I saw the light in your eyes when you organized files. I didn't want your light to go out.
My light didn't go out.
I know. So I'm here.
Emily quit her job in Boston and moved to New York. He sat across from me in the office, her law license on her desk.
Mom, what do you want me to do?
Start as an intern.
I'm a licensed attorney.
I'm your boss.
You're my mom. But also my boss.
We started working together. She knew the law better, argued better in court, had more energy, but one thing she didn't have: patience.
But I knew some battles aren't won by fighting, they're won by waiting. Waiting for the other side to make a mistake, for evidence to surface, for truth to stand up on its own.
One day, an elderly woman walked into the firm. She was 90, white-haired, holding a cane. Her daughter supported her.
Are you Elena?
I am.
My name is Mary. My daughter said you help women.
We do.
My husband died. He left the house to his nephew. Not to me. We were married 60 years. He left it to his nephew.
Do you have the will?
Yes. He changed it. While I was in the hospital, his nephew took him to the law office. I didn't know.
Do you have proof?
No. But I have his diary. He wrote it. He said, "I'm sorry, Mary, I have no choice."
Mary's case was difficult. The will was notarized, legally valid. But I couldn't give up, because she was 90. He might not live to see justice, but I couldn't let her wait in vain. Emily looked into the law office, found a problem. The owner of the firm was the nephew's college roommate.
Not legal, but suspicious. We petitioned the court for an investigation. The judge ordered the surveillance footage from the day the will was signed. The footage showed Mary's husband's hands shaking as he signed.
The proof is his shaking hands. Shaking is normal for a 90-year-old, but at the moment of signing, his hands shook violently because he didn't want to sign. The judge watched the footage, thinking for a long time. The court finds the footage insufficient to prove duress, but the court also finds irregularities in the will's execution. The court rules the will is invalid. The property belongs to Mary Thompson.
Mary cried. She was 90. She thought she'd lose, but she won.
The firm was open a year. We took over 60 cases, won over 50. My name started spreading in the industry. Not because I was a good lawyer, but because I was that woman's mother. The woman who sent her husband to prison. The woman who went from housewife to firm owner.
Someone asked me,
Elena, are you happy now?
I don't know, but I found myself.
How did you find yourself?
Did something I always wanted but never did.
Open the firm? No. Speaking for others. Before, I only spoke for Harrison. Now, I speak for women who can't speak for themselves. It's different.
Harrison wrote to me from prison. Not one letter, but many. The first one, "I'm sorry." The second, "I regret it."
The third, "Do you know why I married you? Because you were the smartest woman I'd ever met. But I turned you into the most foolish, made you stay home, gave up your career. I'm sorry."
I didn't write back.
The fourth, "Elena, I'm sick." The fifth, "Cancer." The sixth, "I want to see you."
I went. Not because he was my husband, because he was my daughter's father. The prison visiting room was tiny, only a table and 2 chairs. Harrison sat across from me, in a prison uniform. He'd lost so much weight. Sunken eyes, prominent cheekbones.
Elena, thank you for coming.
Emily asked me to.
How is she?
Good. She works at my firm now.
She's like you, not like me.
It doesn't matter who she's like. What matters is she does the right thing.
Elena, do you know why I did those things? Not for money. Out of fear. Fear of losing. Fear of being looked down on. Fear my wife would think I wasn't good enough. So I had to win. Keep winning until I forgot how to stop.
You won. You won a prison cell.
Elena, do you hate me?
I don't hate you. I don't love you either. You are Emily's father, a part of my past, but not my future. He cried. This time he didn't hide. He just cried like a human being.
Harrison spent 2 years in prison, then was released on medical parole because of cancer. He lived in a hobbies. Emily visited him once a week.
I didn't go. Not out of hatred, but because I'd already said goodbye. In that prison visiting room. That was our last real conversation.
The day he died, Emily called me.
Mom, Dad's gone.
I held the phone, silent.
The sun shone brightly outside, dusting the floor with gold. I remembered 20 years before, the first time he showed me our house.
Elena, this is our home. We'll live here forever.
Forever ended. He was gone, I was alone. But it wasn't loneliness, it was a new beginning. Harrison's funeral was small. Only Emily, a few relatives, and me. None of his lawyer colleagues came. Not one. They didn't want to be associated with someone who'd lost their license. I didn't wear black. I wore a blue dress. It was his favorite color. Not for him, for me. The priest gave a eulogy, saying things like he was a great lawyer. I thought to myself he wasn't a great lawyer, he was a clever one.
Clever and great are not the same. Great helps people. Clever helps himself. He helped himself his whole life. In the end, he couldn't help himself. Emily stood beside me, holding my hand.
Mom, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Aren't you sad?
I'm sad, but sad that he never became a better man, not sad that he left me.
After Harrison died, I scattered his ashes in the Atlantic Ocean. Not because he loved the sea, because I didn't want to buy him a grave. Too expensive.
I donated the money I saved to women who'd been left with nothing. Grace received enough to live on for the rest of her life. Catherine received enough for her daughter's college. And many more women I didn't know by name. They got the money. Some wrote letters. Some called. Some stood at the firm's door crying.
Elena, what are you doing? This isn't my money. It's what Harrison took from you. I'm giving it back. You don't have to. It's your rightful settlement. It wasn't mine. It was yours. I just kept it safe for 2 years.
The firm was open 5 years. We took over 300 cases, won over 200. My legal team grew from 3 to 15. Emily became a partner. She was better than her father because she didn't fight to win. She fought for justice.
One day, a young girl walked into the firm. She was about 25, wearing jeans.
Are you Elena?
I am.
I want to learn from you.
Learn what?
Learn to do what you do.
Do you know what I do?
You help women win cases.
I don't help women win cases. I help women stand up. Once they stand, they can walk on their own. The girl's name was Claire, fresh out of law school, top of her class. She could have worked at any big firm with a 6-figure salary, but she chose to work here for minimum wage. Why are you here?
Because of my mom. She got nothing in her divorce. She couldn't afford a lawyer. No money. Nothing. I swore I'd be a lawyer who helps women.
You know it's hard here.
I know.
You know the pay is low?
I know.
Then why come?
Because there's light here.
Claire became my assistant. Smarter, harder working, younger than me. But one thing she lacked, she wasn't tough enough. She wanted to help everyone. But I knew you can't help everyone. Only those who want to help themselves. One day, a woman named Julie walked into the firm. She'd been abused for 10 years and finally found the courage to divorce. But she had no proof, no money.
Julie, do you have a job? No, he wouldn't let me. Do you have friends? No. He wouldn't let me. Julie, I can help you. But you have to do one thing. You have to tell me, do you want freedom?
I do. For 10 years.
That's enough. He wouldn't let me. Julie's case lasted 8 months. The judge ruled. The house was hers, the kids hers, $100,000 a year in alimony. She smiled. Her first smile in 10 years.
Elena, thank you.
You're welcome. You stood up for yourself.
I couldn't have done it without you.
Now you know. Next time, you can do it alone.
The firm was open 10 years. I was 62. My hair was white, wrinkles deep, hands starting to shake. But I was still here. Sitting in my office, organizing files, answering calls, meeting clients.
Mom, you should retire.
When I helped the last one.
Who's the last one? I don't know. Maybe the next woman who walks through this door. Maybe you. Maybe her. Maybe every woman told, you get nothing. I wait for them. 10 years. I'll keep waiting. Manhattan outside, bright with lights. Beneath every light, a story. Someone won, someone lost. Someone stood up, someone fell. But no matter what, they're here. They're still here. That's enough. Everyone who comes here knows it's not just the consultation. It's love, understanding. You are not alone.